Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lawrence Oberholzer from Retire Rich and Happy.
All right, so last week we ended speaking about not living paycheck to paycheck and how important it is to first have control over your cash flow, really have a system in place like we teach, and then to make sure that you have positive cash flow at the end of the month and start planning ahead. What is next on our list?
Well, next would be is not investing in retirement.
Okay.
I think, and a lot of people think just taking 15 or 20% of their salary, putting it into some RA or endowment, and they fine. I'm not saying, and I think I said this last week, I'm not saying that an RA and an endowment is wrong. I'm not saying that. But don't just rely on that, because let's just be practical here. You take 15 or 20% of your salary, you put it away. At 65, you expect to get your whole salary, and you only save 20% of it. I mean,
when does it become 20% become 100%?
Exactly. So I'm going to be straight there, and please don't take offense. Guys, get a reality check on that. That's not going to happen. So you need to find different ways. And again, I'm constantly throughout this whole program going to refer to our coaching model. And that's what we help people with, is create these multiple streams of income generating assets, and take bite sizes of your active income away every single month or every single year, and start creating your retirement through that.
Yeah. There's a couple of things that I want to add to what you're saying now. The first one is what I've been saying for quite a while already, is that we've been taught that saving is the answer. Yeah. Saving is the solution to retire. As long as you save enough, 10%, 15%, 20% of your salary, you will retire comfortably. And how I explain it to people is, if you want to build a brick wall, saving is not the wall. Yeah. So if retirement was the wall, saving is not all the bricks. So you need to use some of the other bricks that you have at your disposal. So what do people do? They use savings bricks to build their wall. They get to retirement and their wall is only half built, because savings bricks isn't alone. So you have to have different bricks that you use to build your retirement wall. Otherwise, you're not going to finish it. Exactly. And that's what we see every single day. So there's three types of assets that we teach. So the first one is capital assets, and that's what we've been taught since we were very small. Save, have enough capital in the bank or money in the bank, live off the interest. That's the simplified version of it. But people don't look at having business assets that generate income through leverage, having fixed assets. So you have to have three types of assets: capital assets, business assets, and fixed assets. And that's where it comes in, where you're saying create multiple sources of income as well. You can't just have one source of income. Another thing around that is, and this is something you would see when you start working with people from a financial planning perspective, and I've seen it in the 23, 22 years that I've been, is that people want to be passive investors. You sit with them and they say, well, I've got 1,000 Rand a month that I want to put away, and then just do something with it. Just put it away. So they sign a little form. The insurance company or the financial institution comes every month, takes the money out of their bank account, and they just hope to hell that they do something with the money.
Yes.
And then when they get to 65 and it's not enough, then it's everybody else's fault. It's the insurance company who stole their money. It is the financial advisor that didn't do his job. It's everybody except them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you cannot be financially successful if you don't, or if you want to be a passive investor. You have to become an active investor.
Exactly.
And becoming an active investor starts with a financial education. That doesn't mean you have to become a financial advisor, but it means you need to understand how these things work so that you can start making informed decisions and use these products on your terms, not the insurance company's terms, not the financial advisor's terms. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to learn, then you can't complain when you feel that they've done you in over the long term.
And on that is also ask questions. If a person says they're going to put your money somewhere and you're going to earn X, ask them to show you how that's going to happen. When is that going to happen? How long will it take before you actually earn X?
Yeah.
What happens if you pull your money out after 1 year or 2 years or 3 years? What are the parameters around the investment?
Exactly.
Because it's your money. It's not the guy that's investing your money. It's not his money. It's your money. So for him, he's doing the best he thinks. Hopefully, hopefully he's doing the best for you. But if it doesn't suit your needs, then say no.
Yeah.
There's no harm in saying no, and say
ask
no.
questions.
Is there something else? Because if there is something else, find out about it.
Yeah.
Don't let a person just come to you with one thing. Come to you with 2 or 3 different things. Ask about the risk. Ask about the term. Ask these questions, because then at the end of the day you can say, okay, I've done my due diligence. I'm happy with it. Let's move forward for that amount of time, but also keep an eye on it.
Yeah. Make and be able to make informed decisions. Another one I've got on here that ties in nicely to what we're talking about is overestimating the value of capital. That's one of the big money mistakes people make as well. And it comes into the person sitting with you and showing you, well, if you put away 1,000 Rand a month and you do it for 30 years or 20 years, it's going to give you 3 million Rand by the time you retire. And then you're going to get this bonus and this payback of your fees and everything they sell you. But we overestimate the value of that capital. So we say, 3 million, sheesh, with 3 million Rand, I put it in the bank, 12 or 10% interest, that's 300,000 Rand per year, that's 25,000 Rand a month. I'll be fine with 25,000 Rand a month. But that's not how capital works. People completely overestimate the value of capital. And we've got a video that I'm not going to go into too much detail, but we've got a video on our YouTube channel called The Rule of Tens and the Rule of 300, where you can estimate what the actual value of capital is.
It's actually a shocker.
It
really is.
When you watch that, so simply the rule of 300 is when you have an amount of capital, if you want to know how much income it can sustainably generate, you take that capital and you divide it by 300. So you take 3 million Rand divided by 300, and that won't give you more than, what's that? The 300, that's 10,000 Rand a month.
Yeah.
That is it, with 3 million capital. And we're thinking that it should be able to give us 25 or 30,000 Rand per month. So it's very important to understand the value of capital, because this is what happens, and we call it the death spiral. So people have capital, they take more capital, or more income than that capital can sustainably generate, which means the capital reduces over that year. Then the next year, they have to take even more income to make sure that they have enough with inflation, but there's less capital to generate that. So they have to take more of the capital to generate the income, which means the next year there's less capital available. And then they get into that death spiral.
And because there's less capital, the interest is less.
Exactly.
So it just falls.
It just gets less and less and less. And the problem is that it starts happening so slowly that people don't realize it initially, because it's a small amount and a small amount over a year. But after about 5 years, you're in the death spiral, and once they realize it, it's too late to get out of the death spiral. They're in that spiral, and that's it. Unless they go out and they sell their house and go live in a little klein little place, they start working again to generate alternative streams of income. Unless they do that, their retirement is ruined. And then their retirement is ruined in any case.
Exactly. And everything started with just putting, well, I've got an RA or an endowment. Sorry, I'm just going back to that always. And I think it's enough. And then when they realize, like you say, when they realize it's not enough, then that's too late. It's very hard.
The best time to start, it was 10 years ago. Second best time to start and do something different is now.
Right now.
I always say you can't change or solve a problem with the same things that created the problem in the first place. And that's sort of what's happening in the industry a lot of times, is they want to solve the problem exactly the same way with the same things that created the problem. And you can't just do more of something that created a problem and think that's now suddenly going to solve the problem. You have to do something different. And that is what we teach through our system and through the coaching, is an alternative method. And we're not saying, like you said rightfully, we're not saying don't save. We're not saying don't put money away. Don't save for retirement. What we are saying is that is not the complete picture. We're saying you need to do other things as well if you really want to get to a comfortable retirement.
But then on that as well, people then also make silly decisions and they go after these other investments that are fly-by-nights, and the guys pack their bags and they fly with all the billions of rands that they've made, and they go and live in Greece or wherever and no one can find them. So please be aware of that. You know, another thing, it's also easy to turn around and say, oh, well, that guy stole all my money. No, he didn't steal your money. You gave it to him.
Yeah.
So be careful on who you're going to go and invest with. You know, I'm not going to mention any names, but yes, be careful.
You're almost dead.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's so true. It is, again, you need to take responsibility as well. You made that decision. Doesn't matter who told you. You didn't do your homework. You didn't get your education up to understand. And again, we've got a video on our channel talking about how to spot a financial scam. Go watch that video. Even if you get approached by an investment opportunity, go watch that video and ask those questions. I think in that video I give you like 6 questions that you can ask to make sure that it's not a financial scam. So go watch that. I mean, the content is there. You don't have to be uninformed.
Yeah, no.
There's no reason to be uninformed.
I mean, you've always got that little saying, is if it all goes south, who do I sue to get my money back? Now, if there's no one you can sue to get your money back, well then, hey, don't put your money there. Because you've got not a leg to stand on.
Yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah. You said you were going to talk about paying off debt with your savings. Okay, so let's hear what your thoughts are on that and what to do about it.
So obviously the main aspect here is your savings. So people think, I guess the heading here is saying, well, the savings that you're using for your retirement or your investments. No, we're not talking about that. Most people, when we start with the coaching, they've got savings and it just sits there and it's not really doing anything.
Yeah.
Okay, they're saving it for a rainy day, which is, yes, it's a good thing, but your unsecured debt is the rainy day, you know. And let's just go over unsecured debt. Unsecured debt is your credit card. It's nothing. It's not securing anything. There's no asset attached to unsecured debt. So your vehicle, that's not unsecured debt, and your house is not unsecured debt, nor is your motorbike or your trailer. That all has an asset attached to it, so that's not unsecured debt. It's your credit card. It's your clothing accounts. Those things that are your overdraft. Loans, there we go.
The revolving credit. That's
it.
Probably the most horrible kind of credit that you can get is that revolving credit, because you just never get rid of it.
The word revolving,
that's
like the problem.
Parasite.
And the interest rate attached to that, all of those debts. You're looking at 18, 20%, 27. It's huge interest. Yeah, you got your little savings account for a rainy day and it's earning 4%.
Yeah,
if you're lucky.
Exactly.
So the thing is, take that. Get rid of the debt. It might not cover all of it, but I would say go for the highest interest rate first. Knock those down and start using those to create a snowball effect to then get rid of the rest of the debt. Once that's done, then you're going to start your savings again, or build up your emergency fund, or your your reserve fund, and then from there the extra money will then go back into your investments. So that's the circle that we're creating. So we're not saying don't pay your RA, don't pay your endowment, don't pay your retirement fund. No, we're talking about that little bit of money that's lying on the side that's not really doing much. Make it work for you.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a couple of things on that. The first one is you said the highest interest. I usually look at it both ways. I say the highest interest or one with a lower balance, depending on the situation. And that's why you have a coach to sit with you and look at the situation, because you want to have a quick win and you want to create positive cash flow. Because here's the thing, if you do take, so you've got 30,000 Rand sitting in a savings account, you've got a personal loan that's outstanding 12,000, you've got a credit card with 20,000, and you've got an overdraft with 5,000. First, go and get rid of that personal loan, because that's a monthly expense that you're paying. The moment you've done that, that cash flow is now available. Now, what do people do? Oh, I've got an extra 1,000 Rand a month. Now I can go buy my dining room suite because Lubners, or what, I don't even know what furniture stores are there anymore. Bears. They're now showing my age. They have a special, and then they go and take out debt again.
Yeah.
You need to roll that extra cash flow into the next one. Get rid of that one. Take that extra cash flow, roll it into the next one. And then people say, but what if something goes wrong? That's exactly what you're saying. Well, you've got access to debt because you're in the interim. your credit record improves because you've paid off your debt quicker. So if the pawpaw hits the fan, you can always go back and get a personal loan to get you through. But now you've learned a skill to get rid of that debt. You've learned a system to get rid of the debt. But what do people do? They keep it here sitting in a savings account that does nothing. It has no specific plan, just because for in case. And then the car breaks down. What do? Do they take that 30,000? No, they don't. They go back to their credit card in any case. And they just up their credit card. So this money is not working for them. Go and make it work for you. Initially, when we work with students, when you go from a student to an undergraduate level, so student level, for those of you who haven't seen our coaching, and if you do want to, please go to our website, register for the webinar, and go and see what the coaching is all about, retirehappy.co.za. So what happens is, when you look at student level, the goal is to move your zero back to zero. Now, I'm not going to go into exactly how that works and what it means, but it's basically paying off all your unsecured debt. Then you go to undergraduate level, where you start building your reserve account. But that doesn't mean once you've now paid it, you'll never ever have debt again. Initially, as you are building your reserve account, sometimes things will go wrong, and you'll go a little bit back into debt. You'll finish it off again, start building the reserve. Then your reserve will get a little bit higher. You might go back again, and eventually the reserve account will build itself, and then you never have to go back into debt again.
But in doing all this, what are we doing? It's educating and changing
Teaching
a person's habit. Because let's be honest, your habit of spending more than what you earn, that's happened for the past 10, 15, 20, 30 odd years. You have to change a person's thinking and their habits. And as soon as that happens, then you're okay. Then things are going to carry on going.
It will go forward.
And then I'm going to say our job almost becomes as a support then. We're not now really guiding. We're just supporting when that little stumbling block rocks up or something happens, because everything is there. It's become habitual. That extra money that you've got goes in towards debt, or goes towards the reserve account, or if the reserve account is up, goes into your investment account. So you've just created a system, and once that habit is there with the system, anything can happen and you'll be okay. And that's the important part.
Now, what you said now, which is so important, is you create a system. Here's the thing. Before you started with the coaching and you understood how this worked, if you had a good month and you had an extra 10,000 Rand, what happened to that money? Just sat in your account.
Exactly.
And then the next month you looked at it and whoop, it was gone, because there was no system. You didn't know what to do with the 10,000. It had no plan. It had no structure. Now, if there's 10,000 Rand, your system tells you exactly. You don't have to think. Your system says this money goes into reserve. If that fills your reserve account, it moves into Freebucks account. So your system tells you exactly what to do. You don't have to think about it.
The thing also, talking about myself now, I mean, I come from an education when it comes to engineering. Okay, so no one taught me how to work with money. I knew how to do anything and everything on the engineering front, and I'll train myself and educate myself from an engineering point of view on a daily, monthly basis. So that's what I knew. No one taught me how to work with money.
So if there was money, you spent it. If there was no money, you didn't spend.
Exactly. So this whole concept for me was a major eye-opener. And sadly to say, there are a hell of a lot of intelligent people out there, extremely intelligent people, that also don't know how to work with money. They are making huge amounts of money. Theoretically, they should be financially retired already. But they're not.
Because there's no system.
There's no system. They're in such a hole. They think what they're doing is correct. And it all boils down to, you only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know, and that creates a problem. And then at the end of the day, they've got all this money that they've got at the in a month, and they just spend it on lifestyle. I'm not saying don't have a lifestyle. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying as long as there's a system in place, you'll find it so much easier doing what you do on a monthly, daily basis compared to what you're doing now.
Yeah, and the thing is, they think they are okay because they are earning more than they are spending. They are saving a little bit, thinking that it's going to be enough, that thing that we spoke about earlier. And they have manageable debt levels.
Yes.
But they're not planning moving forward, building assets, actually creating generational wealth. Because, I mean, that's at the end of the day. It's when we teach people, we don't focus just on you. I don't want to make you retire in 10 years alone. I want to make you retire in 10 years, but give you, through you, your children, the skills, the knowledge, the starting point in life for them to be able to retire in 10 years, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
And most people, they're earning a big salary. They think if they get their kids to get a degree because they can send them to university, that sorts out their financial future. It doesn't.
They still don't know how to work with money. I mean, you said it yesterday with your daughter. Okay. She's just finished, I think.
Yeah, she's finishing this year.
Yes, finishing this year. So she's getting a really good salary. She's going to start working. She's got no debt.
Yeah.
This is the
time.
ideal time. Actually, last year was the ideal time, so that she knows what to do with her money, but she does. So you have instilled how to work with money now already. So she's going to start off her life with no debt. She's going to keep on going. She might create a little bit of debt, but it's manageable, and then it's going to be paid off because of the system that's in place, and then she's going to keep on going. So by the age of, let's say, 30, she is financially retired. And guys, there's a difference. Again, financially retired has got nothing to do with age. It's got everything to do with having no debt and everything is paid and you have extra income. So that is financially retired. And then she can do what she wants for the love of what she wants to do, not because she has to do it.
And that is the key. That is the goal. That is what we're working towards, is getting people to a point where they can work because they want to work, not because they have to work.
100%.
And that's when I started this business years and years ago, I said, you know what, my goal has never been to create a bunch of people or a generation of people that sit on the beach and do nothing with their life. I mean, I want to create people that do things with their life because that is their passion. We also don't want, so there's these two sides of the scale. The one side is this group of people that sit on the beach and do nothing. That's not productive. That's not a life. On the other side, you have this group of people that go and do things their whole life, every day, Monday to Saturday, work 8, 9, 10 hours a day and hate every single moment of it. Can't just looking forward to the day they get to 65, knowing that they won't be able to survive financially in any case. That's also not a life. So we want to create this place in the middle where people are living their passion. So they're not doing anything or nothing. They're contributing, they're creating things, but they're doing it because they're passionate about it, but without the financial implications to that. And that, I feel, is true retirement when you get there. And that is what retirement is. And if, again, like you said, it's not age.
No.
If that is 23, fantastic. If that is 30, fantastic. If that is 65, fantastic.
Yes.
At least you've got there. And that's what we want to work to.
I also wanted to put that in there. I mean, don't think that you are 45 or 50 or even 55 and you're not there yet, that it's game over. No, there is always something that you can do to make it better.
Exactly.
Because if you don't do anything, well, that's just going to go worse. But if you do something, it can get better. So
you could be retired already and still within 5 years create enough assets, enough systems so that you can be financially retired, not just physically
100%.
retired. So don't even think if you've already retired it's too late for you. You can still put the business systems in place to create enough income. I mean, we look at it from building business assets, the return on investment you get by investing in a building asset instead of just a pure savings vehicle. It's chalk and cheese. It's completely different. The income, once you start looking at investments from an income generating point of view, instead of just how much growth, how much interest do I earn, it changes the whole picture.
And
everything changes.
And also, when it comes to investments, a lot of people think they themselves need to be part of it. No, you don't want
business.
to. Yes. You don't want to be running the business. You don't want to be going to go and unlock the door and go and do this and go and do that, because there's only so much of your time. You don't want to do that. You want to put money into something that can give you a really good return for a period of time. You being part and parcel of knowing when it's going to work for you and how long it's going to work for you. Then pull the money out and put it somewhere. Does that create extra work for you, a minimal amount of work over a period of time, and that's something you can handle, but not something where it's you got to drive there, do this, do that all the time. So that is the difference, and it's also a mindset, you know.
Okay, what's next?
Okay, I think we've actually spoken about this. My number 10 is not having a plan.
Okay.
So I think throughout this whole conversation, we've constantly spoken about not having a plan. And not having a plan doesn't mean, well, it means that just because you think you have a plan doesn't mean that you've got a plan. Yeah.
It's like budgeting.
I was just going to say, it's like budgeting. People say, no, but I budget every month. Oh, really? No, you don't. Budgeting isn't about what's happening this month. It's what happened last month. Go over exactly what happened, where the money went, why it went here, how much I spent, and then look forward, projecting only 20% into next month.
Yeah.
And that's what our system does, our SEP tool. It is actually a brilliant tool. It separates everything, and once you've got your variable costs, your fixed cost accounts open, you can then track everything. And a budget is all about tracking. You need to track your money. So having a plan isn't just saying, I've got a piece of paper, this is what I spend and that's it, or this is what I spend over 2 or 3 months. And no, you've got to have someone, and I feel you need to have someone that's outside helping you look in, because you can be doing something that's not right, but because it's you'll just look over it.
Yeah,
Yes, you'll justify it. And I think I spoke about that last week as well. People justify where their money is going.
All the time.
They spend money on savings, and where the money's not going anywhere. They have people that they're giving money to, family members that haven't paid them back, and all these things. It's your retirement. You've got to realize it's your retirement. It's your investment plan that you are messing around with. So when you have a neutral person or a coach looking at this, he can be the bad person for you. He can be the one that you turn around and say, well, sorry, to whoever that wants to borrow money from you. Well, I can't, because hell, I'm going to get wrapped over the knuckles because my coach is going to see this.
Exactly.
So use them as your scapegoat, and then start building your investment.
Yeah, sorry I'm interrupting there, but that's so true. We don't want to create family issues and offense and whatever. So then we say yes to friends and family who wants to borrow money, instead of where we know we should actually say no. So the beautiful thing about a coach is you can blame the deaf guy. You just go, no, I'm sorry, I would love to help you, but I'm doing this financial coaching, and Warren is going to be very upset with me. He said I am not allowed to lend money to anybody. And suddenly it's not you anymore.
Sure.
It's now Warren. And Warren can be the bad guy.
100.
He doesn't care. He can then go and coach them not to have to lend money from people.
I don't mind going for psychiatric help afterwards.
No issues. So it is so true what you're saying about the plan, is having a proper plan. It's almost all the people that we start working with, and you'll attest to that, is they have a budget, or they think they have a budget, until they do a strategic expense planning, and suddenly they go, wow, I did not know I was doing this or doing that. A budget is not just looking at expenses and writing them down, seeing what debit orders go off your account, and giving yourself X amount for petrol and X amount for spending. That's not how a budget works. No. You need to understand exactly what you're spending before you can change it. That's why I always say budgeting is 80% looking backwards and only 20% looking forwards. People think it's a predictor of the future. It's not.
I think if I have to put it on a whole, the people that have got debt, it's a lot easier asking them to look at fill in that SEP 100%, look at where their money is going, and finding those, call it the holes in the bucket. A person that comes out at the end of the month, and he is not all of you guys, most a person that comes out with a positive, they find it much harder to fill in that SEP, because they feel, well, I have a positive at the end of the month. So why do I need to fill in the SEP? just because you have a 3,000, 6,000, 10,000, 50,000 rand positive doesn't mean that you can't get more. And in this scenario, I'm saying be greedy here. Be greedy on the amount of money that you can put into your future.
Yeah.
Try and find every single rand that you can put in, because that is a rand that can ultimately become a million rand.
Yeah. Give every rand a job.
Yeah, so find that extra rand, make it work for you. Let's create that investment for you that can actually build your future.
Yes.
And the more investments you have, well, then you can maybe be a little bit more lax about it, because you've created the habit. The SEP tool is there to create the habit.
Yes. Yeah, and it's exactly right what you're saying. The fact that people who are spending less than they're earning, they feel that, but I don't need to go look at my expenses. I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I had exactly that thing. When I was young and I earned all of that money at Housewares, I was spending way less than I was earning, but I was spending on the biggest load of shit. If I could go back and take all of the money I was spending on nonsense, because I was a 21-year-old guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you think what I spent money on, whole lots of shit. Toys and gadgets and everything. If I had a proper system in that 2 to 3 years that I was earning all of that money, when the company closed down and I lost everything, it would have been a blip on the screen, but it was devastating. I couldn't recover for 2 years after that. Where if I had my plan in place and that happened, I would have been, okay, well, this happened. I've got my emergency fund. I've got my reserve account. I can carry myself until I'm back on my feet again.
Yes.
And that's what people don't think. They think that because they have a little bit of extra every month, they're okay. They're spending less than they earn, and that's everything hunky-dory. It's not.
But saying that, and actually thank heavens you didn't have that, because we wouldn't be benefiting from it now.
Yeah,
so things happen for a reason.
Exactly.
It might not be clear at that point in time, but from all of us guys that use the coaching and using the tools that you supply us from Retire Rich and Happy, and me being part of it, I'm thankful you went through a major struggle back then.
Yeah, well, me too, actually. Looking back at it now, I can see how everything happened to create the person that I am, and why I was put on this journey. And that put me on that journey. If that didn't happen, I would never have had the enthusiasm and the passion I have for it. All right, so Warren, what's next? We're almost getting to the end of it now. So what is next?
I think we've covered, I think, most of the bases. So we're reaching what we call our bottom line. Okay, so at the end of the day, we need to look at where our money is going. And I've just read something here. We need to steer ourselves away from the dangers of overspending. And I think what encapsulates that is when you want to purchase something, and especially now, Christmas time, what do? We just buy from an emotional standpoint. And I think, Black Friday is coming up soon.
Just something with us South Africans. So the US starts Black Friday. So they have this Black Friday thing. Then we get it.
Yes.
But then it's not Black Friday. Now suddenly I see people go, Black November.
Yeah.
So one day is not enough for South Africa. We need a whole freaking Black month.
Exactly.
Otherwise we can't shop enough. And then we worry why we are in such financial trouble.
Everyone says the Americans go big, but I think we're starting to catch up. Our small little country, we're starting to catch up.
Yes. No, Black November now. Black Friday sale starts on the 1st of November. Then you see all these Black Friday sales. I'm just thinking, oh my goodness.
Money.
Yeah.
So I think when it comes to purchasing something, instead of buying it right there and then, actually take a step back, think about it. And when I say take a step back, leave it for a day or two, because it's normally that spur of the moment thing. You see those shoes, you see the TV, you see the whatever you want to buy, and you think, okay, I'm going to put it on my credit card or whatever. I'm not saying don't purchase it. I'm saying wait a day or two, because normally that emotion just runs past and you think, I don't really need that item now, and you'd rather get something that actually you really need. Okay,
it's those impulse purchases. They call it the itch cycle.
That's
you go onto that itch cycle and then you want to do it immediately. I mean, that's why in all the shops, what happens when you walk to the till? They've got these little rows of sweets and chocolates
100%.
And whatever, because it's that impulse purchase. And they actually do studies on how much that increases they call it the mandjie se price, the price of the basket.
Yes.
So they increase the basket price by 10-12% just by doing that, with people going, oh yeah, take this, oh I haven't eaten, and that's that impulse purchase. A big thing with that, and I always say that as well, is that people then say, but it's because I don't have the discipline. I don't have the discipline to not do it. And
then, sorry for chipping in, because this is cute. And I'm saying cute because Woolworths, people were complaining because Woolworths had all these chocolates and everything. Okay. Then they complained about it because it was an impulse spend.
Yeah.
I mean, you blaming a shopping center for putting a chocolate in your face
so that you can buy more.
So you can buy it, and then you blame them because you went and paid for it.
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's like the people in America that sues McDonald's because they are obese and got heart attacks. I mean, just don't go into the McDonald's, people. Nobody's putting a gun against your head. What was my point? Oh, yes. So people then say, oh, but it's because I don't have the discipline. Yeah. And it's not a discipline issue. It's an awareness issue. If you are not aware of how much you've already spent this month, how much you have left, where you are against your goals for the month, then it's very difficult, because now you have to purely on emotion make a decision. Yes. And the emotion will always win. Where if you know, listen, my variable cost budget for the month is 10,000 Rand. I've already spent 7 and I've still got 2.5 weeks left. Then you stand in front of those red shoes and go, ooh, this might not be a good idea, because if I'm spending it, that's my variable cost budget for the month gone.
Yes.
And then you make different decisions. And it's not then purely a discipline issue. It's just awareness. It's just knowing where you are. And people don't. Yeah. They have no idea. They don't know where their credit card is. And then they've got 4 of them. They then move one from one credit card to the other credit card. They have no idea what they're spending.
Steal from Peter to pay Paul.
Exactly that. Yeah.
But I would say that I think a lot of people have got that misconception that just because you can afford, just because you can pay for something, doesn't mean you can afford it. Because having something and taking out your credit card and paying for it is one thing. Being able to afford that thing 2 months down the line or 3 months down the line. I mean, I can't remember who said this, but how many people after Christmas are taking half the stuff that they've got, if not more, to pawn shops to get the money back so that they can carry on living till the end of January.
It's the boom time for pawn shops and cash converters.
So
and these guys.
Please, guys, just because you can pay for an item doesn't mean that you can afford it.
That's such a good message to end the show with. I think that says everything. Just because you can pay for it doesn't mean you can afford it. So really understand, be aware, have a system, especially going into this time of the year. This could be a great time to set yourself up for January, or it could be a great time to mess up your 2020 without it even starting yet. Okay, Warren, thanks so much. Again, if people want to get hold of you, please give them your details so that if people want to speak to you.
Okay, so my email, it's warren@rrh.life. And then cell number 082 551 8804. And guys, I don't think I'll be speaking to you guys before Christmas. So everyone have a great festive month, and drive safely and enjoy. And I think 2022 is going to be a much better year compared to 2021. And I know it's going to be for all of us. So have a great one.
It's the right year to start getting your shit together.
Exactly that.
All right, guys, have a great weekend. And I'll see all of you, or chat to all of you again next week, Thursday at 10. Hey guys, Lawrence here. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and you got some benefit out of it. Please add in the comments any questions you might have or any other topics that you would like me to talk about. Please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell button so that you can get notified of any new videos that we post so you don't miss anything. Thanks guys. See you around.